TitleSearch.com again. This is Dave. Divorce as a separate issue in property records may affect title to land more than even some direct recordings can. Let's take a look at how a property that has a prior history of either one of the owners or parties having a divorce event in their lives. First of all, there may be a prior transfer of that property on a quitclaim deed, which is not a warranty deed. When that happens, the transfer doesn't warranty any rights from the grantor, so that any future owners are only going to be receiving which rights went along from that quitclaim deed. It's important to take a look to see if there were other spousal interests that were not transferred forward on that quitclaim deed. For example, if a person has a house and they're married and the parties get divorced, one party quitclaims their interest to the remaining party who stays in the house, and then later on they sell it. Well, if that quitclaim party did not somehow transfer all their interest, then subsequent parties may not have full ownership of the house. There also is the factor of liens which come from a spouse on a property carrying forward. Sometimes those are missed on some incomplete title searches because those names aren't checked. With regard to names, when you're looking at a property that has had married partners or married parties on the title history, sometimes the names will change. There may be a married name, a maiden name. Sometimes a person will take both names. Unless all of those variations of names are checked, there may be a lien that slips through the cracks to the current owner. There's also the possibility of claims against a property owner through child support or the divorce decree. If when parties get divorced, that settlement agreement or that settling out of all the assets is not done completely, one of the parties might have a claim against the other for child support, spousal maintenance. Even in the divorce decree itself, there may be requirements to pay certain amounts of money. If that's not all done properly, then it could end up becoming a lien on the title. Remember, the divorce decree may be recorded in public records, probably not in the land records. It may be in another court document that has to be searched separately, but the settlement agreement for that divorce is not normally recorded in public records. So keep that in mind. You may not get all the details there. Also, check on prior ownership transfers that the signature of a spouse is the correct signature. We've seen closings where husband and wife own a property, they go to sell it, husband and wife show up, do the closing, sign their names, walk away. Turns out the person that showed up at the closing was not the spouse, for example, was not the wife. The husband brought some other party, maybe the girlfriend or somebody from the office, to come sign for the wife to be able to sell that property without the wife knowing. So verify the signatures are correct so that doesn't affect future ownership. In states where property is known as community properties by married partners, that will also affect. For example, let's say a single man purchases a property by himself, he later gets married. That property may become community property by statute, not even if the name goes on the title. So that wife may own part of that property even if she doesn't show up on the title. Let's say 5 years later they get divorced and there was no change to the title, and a couple years after that the husband sells that property by himself. Well, that ownership interest for that wife is never reflected on the title, so it's important to check separately the marriage records of any parties, if that's part of the search scope, to make sure that any spousal interests or community property interests are reflected for future owners. So divorce actions can be an important part of property title. Make sure that when you're getting a title search, you determine if those interests are important to know for your search needs.